To dig deeper on this topic is Rebecca Grant, national security expert, and Isaac Stone-Fish, journalist and senior fellow with the Asia Society. And thank you both for being with us. Let me start with this. Thank you. Rebecca, let's start with you on this. Hard power versus soft power. We're seeing some moves by the United States here when it comes to hard power. But has anything changed in terms of what was formerly believed to say soft power is still better at this moment?
Soft power and hard power go together. So, right now, one of the most important things is we do have very close military cooperation with South Korea. As you know, we have U.S. Air Forces and Army forces there. It's a combined command. And so a lot of what we've seen is hard power reinforcing the soft power, the movement of the Vinson Strike Group. There was an Elephant Walk major exercise at Osan Air Base. And let's remember, we've deployed initial elements of the THAAD, the Terminal High Altitude Air Defense Interceptor, to Korea. So the hard power connection is still working really well right now.
And so you just well described, Rebecca, for us, the hard power element. The soft power element here, Isaac, though, is that's the question, right? Chris Hill is asking that. Do we have the right troops? With the reduction in budget at the State Department, lack of an ambassador, you don't have that balance then. It's really a hard power move then if you look at that assessment.
I think you're right, and I think what we do want to see is more soft power. We really do need an ambassador in South Korea. We need to get the ambassador confirmed for China. We need someone for Japan. And I think both our allies in the region, South Korea and Japan, our so-called enemy right now, North Korea, and I guess our frenemy, China. We really need more communication with all of them. We really need to let them know what we are willing to do and what we're not willing to do. We just really need better communication.
So it is a hard comparison to make here, Rebecca. Syria is certainly full of a lot of difficult choices, really in terms of no win, right? And that's how the scenarios are often put out in these policy briefs that are given to the president. In this case with North Korea, also a lot of tough choices at the moment, because again, as we were talking with the Brigadier General, with Seoul being so close, 10 million people, if there were to be some sort of military action, many of the prognosticators will say sarin gas goes over that 30-mile stretch, hits that city with 10 million people in South Korea, and there begins a very horrible scenario, not only for the Korean Peninsula, but for all of Asia.
Well, that's right, Richard, and General Kimmett made some good points, too. It really is a tough, that's why it's still called the demilitarized zone, where those forces face one another. So key points to remember, we do have good missile defenses. Our forces there along with South Korea are very strong, but I'm not surprised that we've seen concerns by South Korea's population about what this means for them. This really is in their backyard. But remember, China comes in here, too. North Korea has been China's buffer state for 50 years or more, but they're not behaving in a way that's helping right now. The international situation is such that North Korea has to change its behavior. And I think we see China recognizing that, maybe giving a little bit of that soft power touch as well. We need China to help us move forward, and meanwhile, we'll keep our hard power shield up to show that we need progress.
Isaac, what's the variable here? It's been said that it's no longer Kim Jong-un. It really is the president of the United States. But is China also part of that mix?
I think they are, and I think we've been told for so long by the Chinese side that they really don't have influence on North Korea, and that's completely false. There's a lot that China can do if it decides to really constrain North Korea. So I think what Xi Jinping, the Chinese Communist Party secretary, decides is really important in this calculus. I think the other thing that we have to remember is that even though China is North Korea's most important ally, there's no lost love between these two countries. There's a lot of hatred and ill will between the two sides. So on the one hand, while China does have a lot of influence, they don't have a lot of soft power in North Korea. So I think watching the Sino-North Korean relationship is a really important one to keep an eye on.
As well as the Russian-North Korean relationship, as much as it is very, very old, we're looking at nuclear capabilities in North Korea that came from the Soviets back in the day. So all these interlinkages that the two of you have described so well for us. I wish we had 10 more minutes, but I thank you both. National Security Analyst Rebecca Grant, Isaac Stone-Fish, Senior Fellow with the Asia Society. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.